Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Ambient Bass Effects Mornings. I appreciate all y'all coming and hanging out with me as usual. So, what you're kind of listening to there is really just the Enzo X doing all that stuff. What's going on, folks? I appreciate you chiming in. That's amazing. I'm glad you're getting you got your Empress compressor. You know, that's one of my sauces too. Very amazing. You know, it just sounds good. Even on something like this, you know, I do have the Empress compressor on, and I have the ToneX on as well, running a color box tone model. All of it, you know. And that's mostly the Enzo X doing all of that work there. And then at the end of the chain, I have the Source Audio Atlas compressor. Switch over to the pedal board view here. All that pitch shifting, reverb, flanger, all that stuff is the Enzo X. Make sure you hit that like button for me as well. But yeah, so let's slide over this way. So even that flanger on there, it's got that nice vintage sound to it. Yeah, very atmospheric sound there. I'm gonna move this over here so I can keep up with you guys. Want to be able to see when you guys are chatting or whatever. So, great sound on its own. Put this right there. Keep that little in view. Definitely appreciate that. So that's just one sound on there. It's such a massive So another sound you can find in the Enzo X pack that I have on the Patreon, of course. You know, all my sounds, you can always find them if they're on a digital pedal that has presets. You can always find my sounds on the Patreon. So that was literally the Enzo X doing all of that. Yeah. Well, this ain't even just finding new sounds. These are already sounds I created months ago. These are all in the, like I said, in the preset pack. So if you have an Enzo X and you want these type of sounds and you want it to track the bass the same way mine's tracking, and you know, because that was a huge part of it. Getting each setting, the tracking has to be set properly, and then from there, you know, it's just knowing how to get to nice sounds like that. You know what I'm saying? So literally all Enzo X. This is why, you know, every pedal you gotta, you know, in a way you have to find your own way of using it. It's fire, first off. Throwing something like the shimmer reverb. We're going to give it a real nice beat. And then we're going to get some of the dry mix in here too real quick. Yeah, so if you're just joining us, make sure you hit that like button. Give me some reactions in there. Don't feel free to ask questions and all that good stuff. And then when I stop, I can give you guys answers, or, we'll talk about what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. You know how it go. So let me see what we got here. No, my top of my bass doesn't bother me at all. My bass is like, it's designed to be perfectly balanced more than anything. So I don't have to try to do too much. I can just hold it and it stays like this. Part of that is this, keeping it balanced. And even when I put it on a strap, it feels like I have it right here. So, it's good to have a nice balanced bass. If you're not hip, some of one of the main differences between a really good bass and a bass that's going to be a hassle to play, besides the size of the neck and the shape of the neck, is going to be, is it a balanced instrument in general? So, great question. And I hope you have a great rest of your day as well. You probably already stepped out already, but hope you rewatch and see I did answer your question. And appreciate all the usual suspects coming on in the house. Appreciate all you guys always showing the support. If you haven't, hit that like button and subscribe. Keep up. We do this just about every day. I took a day off yesterday, but we're going to be right back to it. So let's do some explaining here. So what I did there to get that sound was not just the Enzo X. I used ran the Empress compressor into the deep freeze and then into the Enzo X to get that sound, basically. So that basically into the Enzo X with that preset. Which preset was that? The poly panning preset on there, which gives you this beautiful synth. Gives you a beautiful synth there. I mean, just stupid. But it also gives you that panning delay, that stereo delay there. Then you got the HX1 with that beautiful shimmer. And you can do something similar if you have like a MXR layers as well. You can take the layers and simply, if you have a sustain pedal, I have one down here on the floor. Slightly different sounds. Like the MXR layers almost sounds like a keyboard. It almost sounds like I'm sustaining an electric piano with a heavy chorus on it. Versus the deep freeze is almost has like, so the deep freeze I would describe more like a string texture versus the MXR layers is more like a keyboard type sustain, or gives you that more of that keyboard type sound with the sustain. So let's hear them without all the extra stuff real quick, because this kind of makes a huge difference. And it just sustains like that. I mean, you can play over it if you want to, you know. Just change the chord whenever you're ready. But yeah, you get the idea. So the MXR layers definitely sounds way closer to an EP to me, you know, versus the layers gets you that string texture. You know, it actually reminds me of similar texture that you kind of get when using the Mel 9, but like a super synthy version of that, kind of like. It almost makes you want to add like a string sound on top of it. It's like a brass string. Plus, I like the auto mode on the deep freeze a lot more. So it allows you to, it really frees you up from having to worry about playing different chords, like, you know what I'm saying, and hitting the switch at the same time. So I can literally just play the chords. With the MXR layers, I don't really like the auto mode too much. Turn off the dry signal. See what I'm saying? It's almost like you gotta have it in this impossible sweet spot on the trigger that really doesn't allow for it. But when you add that sustain pedal, when you turn that trigger all the way off, then you got just the. And for some reason, it doesn't do it on the down. You have to play. Press it and release it in order to get the sound. So it's like a little, if you're used to playing piano, the sustain pedal, when you working it with the MXR layers, is going to be slightly different to what you're used to. Like, you're going to have to play. Like, you can press it down and play and let it go, and it'll sustain it. You could do it like that. So I'm literally playing the chord as I'm pressing pressing it down and releasing. And that's allowing me to be, when I release, I'm still holding. I had the chord still held for a millisecond there. So I'm pressing down, now let go. Pressing down, let go. Pressing down, let go. And it'll sustain it. So that's something that took me a while to figure out with the layers. It was kind of weird because it works opposite of like a regular sustain pedal with a piano, so it was a little weird for me. But when you get used to it, it's like definitely gets that keyboard sound. Like you throw that with like the the key 9, and if you got the key 9, you put that on like dynamo, turn down the control 1, which is the octave down, because you really don't need that, but turn that down, and then let's get some keyboard type sound going. See, now you got your like keyboard. And then you can run that through a filter. So I got like the MXR bass envelope filter there. And as you can hear, it's like the filter's doing a whole bunch of stuff. Exactly. Yeah. The films. I would say for the film scoring aspect, I definitely would go with the deep freeze. Like if you want to get like for real, taking like the deep freeze and you running that into the key 9 or the mel 9 is instantly going to get you in that string, like that film scoring territory. And then you can kind of just throw some reverb and things like that on it. But for the keyboard type sound, you definitely would want to MXR layers. Mixing in some choir. So that was a super complex sound. I didn't know I was going to get that complicated. That was actually the MXR layers running into the key 9 and then into the male 9, then the Empress compressor into the Enzo X, and then the LFO filter on the MS-70 CDR Plus into the tri-chorus on the Plethora X1, and then you also have the HX1 running the shimmer. So that was a pretty complex sound there. But as you can hear, sometimes it all works out. You know, you just gotta keep experimenting. You know, I just kept trying, adding new stuff there. So it wasn't a sound I've ever particularly created. The individual sounds, yes. So I knew, like, after I got one layer, I knew where I wanted to go next, because I knew the sounds that I wanted it to go through. So to a certain extent, it's some experimentation. You know, some of it is me absolutely experimenting, and some of it is absolutely me knowing, like, finding a way through, I guess, years of, you know, playing around with effects. So if you haven't, do me a favor, hit that like button and subscribe. Also, all these different preset packs and stuff are available on the Patreon, as well as if you want to support the channel more. Of course, it's on there. You can do it on there. Also, Super Chat, Cash App, always good. But one thing, let me see what we got. We got a question here. Does the MS-70 CDR Plus have the same effects as the MS-60B Plus and more? This will be my next purchase now. And a Ditto and an Empress bass compressor. So yes, they have some overlapping effects, not the same set of effects. The MS-60B Plus is gonna have like the bass amps, bass preamps. It's gonna have more compressors. It's also going like more bass-centered compressors. It's going to have all the modulations that are in the MS-60B Plus are in the MS-70 CDR Plus, but not the other way around. So the MS-70 CDR Plus has like a lot more filters. It has way more modulations, delays, and reverbs on it, and it doesn't have things like the Z synth, but it does have octavers on it. So the MS-70 CDR Plus, this blue pedal here, definitely has octavers on it, and pretty decent ones. It has the same octavers that are on the MS-60B Plus, if that's important to you. But it doesn't have the bass amps, the distortions and fuzzes and overdrives. It doesn't have none of that stuff, the preamps or the bass amps and cabinets. And it doesn't have the Z synth, which is the best bass synthesizer, on this type of pedal. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you just want like a multi-effects unit that's got a decent bass synth, the MS-60B Plus one is not bad at all. It's not the greatest, but it sure enough ain't bad. But look at that LFO filter. How warm that joint is. And that's from the MS-70 CDR Plus. And let's not forget that the entire unit is in stereo. So it's stereo in and stereo out. So you can use, you're getting like stereo versions of the filters and stuff, and with the multi-stomps in general, that is one benefit, like compared to some of the, say I wanted to run, I can't run the color box stereo, right? But I can get a decent 1073 preamp sound out of the MS-60B Plus and run that. We went over that yesterday, how to do that. But take that, and then I can actually have that come out of here in stereo, versus if, with the color box, does sound better, but it also is $450. And in order to get stereo, it would cost me $900. I would need two of them because it's only mono. So having things like those 1073 preamps in the Zoom MS-60B Plus and the Zoom B6, the one in the Zoom B6 is even better because the sound quality on there is way better than the multi-stomps. I wish they would make a big version like the B6, but for the MS-70 CDR Plus with the upgraded sound quality and stuff, I think that would sell a ton. Like, just upgrade the processing power and all that stuff. But it definitely, both of them are worth checking out. If you're going for more of the ambient stuff, you already got your preamps and all that stuff, just get you an MS-70 CDR Plus, and it'll get you little extra stuff like these filters and delays. And I like the filters way more than the ones on the HX1, if you're wondering. And I like, what else? I like the delays. The delays, to me, sound just as good as the one on the HX1. You won't be able to tell the difference. It's like a tie there. I will say individual reverb effects do sound slightly better on the HX1, but if you run the reverbs in the MS-70 CDR Plus, if you run the whatever reverb you want, you run that into the air reverb effect. So, and that'll make it sound much bigger and closer to what you'll get on the HX1. So, but that filter, I told you these filters is crazy. Definitely reminds me of my Blurst. Ooh, that James funk. I ain't realized that James was getting funky like that. Ooh. I like that LFO filter on there. I don't know why. Yep, I got a pack for the Zoom MS-60 Plus as well. You know what I'm saying? I got that whole pack on there, and I optimized some stuff on there for bass, but a lot of it is like the bigger pads and stuff. So, but I just got stuck on that filter. I didn't realize that joint was gonna go like that. It's like it's really warm. It actually sounds really close to the blurs. Like it really does sound. That's really sounds really close to that. So that's a bonus. You know, you can use the MS-70 Plus to simulate an electro-harmonics blurs sound. But all right, so but in terms of the pack, let's see what we got here. So we can fly like a bird. That literally is the tone coming from the MS-70 Plus. So this joint right here ain't nothing. The Empress compressor is off. Matter of fact, I'm gonna turn off the Atlas compressor too. This is strictly like one of the bass tone patches I crafted in it, because you get a bunch of EQs and stuff in there too. You get like some really nice EQs, compressors. You get stuff like the exciter in there. Of course, you get some of my favorite modulations in there. They got like the warp phaser is amazing, and it's a ton of, pretty much all the modulations in there are like really close to whatever they're trying to emulate. So they did a great job at that. But just getting nice bass tones like that. Let's see. Let me get my bass together here. So let's do this. I need a little volume. I don't want to cheat. I want you to hear the actual unit. So let me just bring it up there. There we go. me that's not a solid bass tone there. Let me see some without it. With it. You see how, like, that's what I'm saying. Even though it's not a bass pedal. Oh yeah, the bass. All these. If I'm making a preset pack for anything, trust and believe the pedal will be right, and the patches will be right. If you see me using something on my pedal board, especially, you know what I'm saying, like that means that those have really been dialed in. Those, you know, I took the time with each individual unit and really dialed these in. I would never send you guys garbage, and I don't even recommend garbage pedals. If something is not good as a multi-effects unit, if you've been following my channel, even sometimes I guess to my own detriment, I'm going to give it a negative review. You know what I'm saying? But that's also because I buy these, you know. That's just one bass pass. Let's go. Here's another one. Without it. With it. So just gives you nice bass tones there. Two different ones there. Little bass. Did I mention it got a bit crusher in there and a ring mod? Yeah. Just funks. And then I got this patch here, which Just nice. If you got an octaver pedal, right? This is what you do. This is what you do right here. Or just a synth pedal, right? Like I'm gonna take just a synth oscillator from the Future Impact. Get on. This is what it sounds like without it. Good gracious, them oscillators on that joint is stupid. But you run that through the... And you got different ones. Without it. Say I just wanted to take that sound and transform it a bit more. So, you know, just give it a different flavor just by adding like that little sauce to it, you know. You also, let me see, what is octavers? Oh, I got one right here. So you got little stuff like that as well. You can add the stuff. So it's a really good unit just in terms of just adding stuff. Like adding so many little things to your arsenal. This one that included an octaver. See, this is what I'm saying. You don't have to buy another octave pedal. It's got them in there that's pretty decent. Not the best ever, but pretty decent. Now we're getting into pads. Well, these are solo sounds. You're going to do some solo bass sound type stuff. And all of this is the MS-70 CDR Plus, Zoom MS, this It's nothing else on it. Literally nothing else. Bring this down just a smidge. Again, that entire sound. The entire sound, though. MS-70 CDR Plus. How massive that sound. It's ridiculous. It's all types of just pads. that's a harmonizer on there. So I gave you a really wide variety of sounds. Anytime I do a pack, I try to give a really good wide variety of tones, whether it be everything, not just your bass tones. Always going to give you a few of those just because we're bassists. I give you a few examples of what you could do with the pedals with your bass tone, even though it's not specifically a bass pedal. But then we get into the other features of what it can do to work with your bass sound and just enhance pretty much everything you're doing. So, and not to mention that it's MIDI capable. You know what I'm saying? So it will allow you to change patches and different preset packs via MIDI. You don't even have to try to scroll through the buttons or none of that. I actually use my MIDI captain down here on the floor with a CME H2 MIDI Pro, and the H2 MIDI Pro distributes MIDI throughout my pedal board, while the MIDI captain stores all my preset patches and names and all that good stuff. So, yeah, it definitely takes some time to get the effects together, but y'all have a huge advantage today. Something I didn't have, when I was getting into effects is, all these preset packs that you can just download. You don't have to spend days trying to get to those sounds. If you ever get to those sounds, sometimes you gotta know what you're doing and hear it already and all that extra stuff. So that's always a factor. But yeah, so I think those preset packs typically go for about 15, $20, somewhere around there. Don't quote me on that. It'll tell you on the Patreon. But really love this flanger. So you can I could get on that MS-70 CDR Plus and just be on there all day, because you'll run into the individual effects on there are really good. Like that, what's that? The vintage flanger. And they get nice warm modulations. Like you always get that nice rubber band feel I like to get from phasers and flangers. So it's like, and something comparable on the HX1, if you have one, would be the analog flanger, which happens to be one of my favorite flanger sounds altogether right now. You can just hear how wide the sound is. That's my bass. Right? Put that analog flanger on. Yeah, you can just, it just got a nice wide, it really lets your bass sound wrap around. Like in stereo, when you run it in stereo, you really get to hear that nice appreciation for it. But yeah, pedals like that multi-stomp and the HX1. The hard part about it is it's easy to place the MS-70 CDR Plus. It's just obviously goes towards the end of the chain. It just works better that way. But things like the HX1 that's got all this other stuff in there that you may or may not want to use, like the pitch shifters and stuff. You kind of got to use them where they are, especially if you run them stereo. Now, if you use the secondary, the right channel of the stereo loop on the HX1, you can actually use those as an external effects loop. And that way you can place the HX1 before or after things, but you have to run the HX1 in mono. Compared to now, I got to run it in stereo, which is why you can really hear that sound very well. You know what I'm saying? Like that imaging. And as well as it works for the reverbs on there as well. But, I like to run it stereo, so it is what it is. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Subscribe, all that good stuff. Thanks. I appreciate you, Donald, for subscribing. Appreciate you. And shout out to the Patreon, homies. Appreciate all you guys that support the Patreon and, and buy the preset packs and, sign up to just support the channel every month. I greatly appreciate it. It means the world to me. Don't forget that we got memberships on YouTube now. But if you're signed up on Patreon as a member on there, as a paid member, you don't need to sign up on YouTube. I'll make sure y'all get the same content. It's just a different way. Some people prefer to support on Patreon. Some prefer to support on YouTube. And I just want to make a way for you guys to do that no matter what. So, yeah. Just like on the Plethora X1, I love this tri-chorus. Without it just adds so much imaging to the sound. I'm running these in stereo, by the way. That's why you're getting that effect. So what I do when I'm on a gig, right? Say I'm on a gig and I don't have 2 amps. So that's another reason why I have a canvas stereo line isolator. So what I do is I'll sum it, press the sum button, and pretty much that'll make that stereo signal mono to go to the amp, but it leaves stereo going through the DI out. So like you're hearing it through the DI out of the XLR outs rather of the canvas stereo line isolator, inline isolator mode, of course. So, yeah, a lot of it is really just experimenting, finding which effects you like on which pedals. Like I know I prefer that on there, as well as the shimmer reverb on the Plethora X1 is very nice as well. Now, out of these 3 pedals, the HX1, the Plethora X1, and the MS-70 CDR Plus, for me, I would have to say the HX1 and the Plethora X1 are tied for the best shimmer reverbs. Definitely like them more than I like the one on the MS-70 CDR Plus. It's the HX1. I just like these better, than the one on the MS-70 CDR Plus. So, every pedal has its thing to it. No multi-effects unit is great at every single effect that's on there. I'm just not going. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen one, but at the same time, when you find a unit that, you got to find those effects. And one thing I'm grateful for these days is we have presets, so I don't have to try to remember all these little things and settings and stuff. I can simply turn the knob, turn on the chorus. Turn the knob, turn on a different shimmer reverb, So these little things is stuff you might want to, pay attention to when you're buying pedals. Are you using them in MIDI? Are you using it by itself? I don't want to have to open my pedal board case and, rearrange knobs every time I get to a gig. It's a bit annoying, so that's why I use so many multi-effects units. I actually did a whole video about that as well, why I use so many multi-effects units. But yeah, if you notice, it just makes my life easier to have those presets for different various things. That's the Future Impact. That's the Future Impact running into the baseballs. This is without it. Oh, great news, guys, too. I have the MXR bass synth on the way. It'll be here Thursday or Friday. Magically found one. Somebody, one of the stores had a display model, I'm guessing, or they might have did a review on. Whatever the case, got one of those coming. So we got a MXR bass synth versus the Future Impact versus the C4 synth versus the Enzo X. Let's go. Come on now. Y'all got to hit the like button for that one. Come on. That is a win right there. You know why? Because not only am I going to be comparing these things, you guys know, I know these units that are already here very well, and I pretty much know how to use the MXR bass synth already. You know what I'm saying? I've already looked at the manual. I've already looked at the hidden controls or the secondary controls. And I've already determined some of the best settings even before I have it in my hand from watching people's videos and hearing some things that could be a little better. So I already have an idea of how I could fix some of these presets and different things like that. So if you have an MXR bass synth, you know what I'm saying, I got some content coming up for you for sure. And like I said, we'll be doing some battles because I don't know, for some reason, everybody think that thing, it's nowhere near the Future Impact. I'm just going to tell you guys that it is a good pedal for what it is, but it doesn't have the functionality or the flexibility to even really be compared to the Future Impact. Just kind of turn on that bass balls. first of all, the bass balls. Let's give it up for Electro-Harmonix bass balls. Like, it is literally the only filter that has that very unique sound to it, that dynamic. That joint sound, and it's like, it has that sound. A lot of, like, if you try to get that in a digital pedal, I feel like it'll have a lot more harshness, and it won't be as. Let me see something. That's just a pure waveform. These don't have the filter on them, I don't believe. Yep, they don't have the filter. So this, the baseballs, don't sleep on that little filter either, even though I actually got this used for $40. Used for $40, you know what I'm saying? And then I didn't buy it brand new. I got that at Guitar Center. And of course, I had to go in. Now, here's a little tip. If you have an Electro-Harmonix bass balls and you're trying to figure out why yours doesn't sound exactly like mine, you have to go inside and adjust the pots and play around with the frequencies a little bit and change it up a little bit to get it to sound like that. So without the synth on, so it's got a very unique sound to it. Of course, if you throw a little distortion on with it. And that's just a little bit of the Blueberry Overdrive on the MS-60B Plus. I love the distortions on the MS-60B Plus, by the way. Especially this Blueberry Overdrive. That's definitely like a very warm overdrive type sound. Right? So, it's nice that's classic baseballs filter. I haven't used it in a while, but I poured it out the other day and was just like feeling around with it a bit. Kind of missed it. I never use it as much as I want to. Even though I always end up putting it on my board for a little bit, I never use it as much as I want to. So, but it is one of my favorite filters. It's hard to get that sound, even when, you're using another dual, what is it, the twin, pretty much two dynamic filters. You probably can get something close with the Future Impact, but it's like that analog joint just sounds so good. That baseball is different. Then you got stuff like the MXR bass envelope filter. Sorry about that. Yeah, definitely. It's always a classic right there as well. So, if you're in the market for like some good analog filters, that's where I would say, to be honest, that's one of the few places most of the time I can't really argue with you on in terms of analog versus digital. I do like a good analog filter. Like I do. I love the blurst, the electroharmonics blurst. I love the electroharmonics bass balls, the bass envelope filter by MXR. Those are really good analog filters that can be used for a lot of different type of bass sounds. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to synth and stuff, these days those filters are really good. Like the filters that are in the Future Impact and Enzo X, and even the C4 synth, there's a ton of filters in there. They're very good. You know, they're very good. And I love the ability to have so many sounds in one thing. But I still do every once in a while. I like to throw my little analog filters up on there. And something like the bass balls only got one knob anyway, so this thing ain't going. If this knob changes, it's not the end of the world. It's only one little knob, but if you got 15 of those. And the MXR bass envelope filter is actually one of my first pedals. That along with my very first pedal was a Eden WT DI pedal, right? Which is just a DI box. It's actually right here. Still works perfectly. Matter of fact, I'm actually selling this. I'm actually getting rid of a few pedals. This is one of the ones I am going to go ahead and let go because I'm not using it. It's just it's the first pedal I bought, and it's still in great condition, but still in excellent condition. But time to let some things go. I'm actually getting rid of quite a few pedals right now, selling off quite a few. There's yeah. Let me put my bass down real quick. We're getting rid of some pedals, guys. So what we got here is just stuff I got lying around. One thing I'm trying to get better with is not just keeping all this stuff around. Matter of fact, let me go back to the pedal board view. I can just put it over there. First, we got MXR Poly Blue. This is an amazing octaver. Sounds great. Only reason I'm getting rid of these is, again, because I'm not using them. It's not because they aren't great pedals. It's just I'm not using them. I have a Hog 2 right there. I also have, a ton of octavers on my pedal board already. And I can get this sound using one of my other pedals. Things like the Source Audio Spectrum. And just hit me up in my DMs on one of the social media, on Instagram or Facebook, one of those. Preferably Instagram at the Bass Negus, Negus, on all social media. And just hit me up if you're interested in grabbing any of these pedals. This is a Source Audio Spectrum filter. So it's got all the filters and distortions, and it's even got an octaver in there as well. And you got a lot of different options in these pedals. So got the Source Audio Spectrum there. Getting rid of my X-Tone Pro. This is a great little MIDI. It's a great little audio interface. Good sound quality. Good inputs, outputs, XLR in, XLR out. You got, of course, line in, line out. You can do expression pedals, stereo out, MIDI in and MIDI out. And it runs on 9 volts or USB power. These come in handy when, say, you wanted to have a iPad rig or something like that, or you just need a solid audio interface that also has configurable foot switches for your recording software. Say you're using like Guitar Rig or Amplitude, you assign these foot switches to different things. You amp on and off, effects on and off, and bam, there you go. And it also got phantom power and, the ability to have the dry inputs be monitored as well. So great little audio interface there. What else we got? TC Electronic Spectrum. So, I was supposed to show that over here. Oh, this is the X-Tone Pro. You got all your little inputs, outputs on this side. And it's a DI box as well. So, great little unit. Again, only reason I'm not using this because, of course, I have 3 or 4 audio interfaces as it is, not including the pedals that function as an audio interface like the ToneX one or things like that. So I don't really have to have all this extra stuff anymore. Then we got the Spectrum, TC Electronic Spectrum. Great little mini multi-band compressor. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't take up much space on your pedal board, but definitely will tighten up your sound. And you can, even though it's one knob, you can go into the Tone Print app and change any of the parameters on there. Assign this knob to 2 or 3 parameters at a time, something like that. Or you can just use what's in here. I mean, the standard tone print that comes in here is it sounds great. So, what else we got? We got a Zoom MS-60B. You know what I'm saying? This the original. I told you guys eventually I was gonna be letting this joint go. And all these pedals, I'm leaving all my patches on them. So if you want some of my sounds and you want they're on the pedals already, they'll be on the pedals already. Y'all can choose to reset them or whatever yourself. But yeah, fully functional, still sounds great. I'm just taking it off my pedal board. As a matter of fact, it was right here if you've been following me for the longest. And this is what I've been using for the last 10 years to get like a lot of my guitar type sounds that you've heard has been coming from this pedal here. So like the guitar amp, some Marshall amp in there, all that good stuff. And the classic Boss OC5. We're going to let this go too. We're going to let this OC5 go. Mainly because while I do like the functionality of it, I'm not really using it as much. And like I said, I'm getting a lot of my octave sounds from Future Impact and the C4 synth, the Enzo X now. So there's no real need for me to have this separate thing here. So, all of these pedals are in functioning, good quality, fully functioning pedals, great quality. Very little damage on any of these pedals at all, cosmetically. But yeah, if you want any of these pedals, you want to buy them, hit me up. We'll negotiate a price. Hit me up on social media at the Bass Negus. Let me see. That way, you guys are. If you wanna find it, see, did that come through? Let me type it on here for you guys. But yeah, hit me up if you're interested in any of these pedals. Probably gonna list them on Facebook Marketplace and Reverb more than likely. Because I'm ready to get some new things in here for you guys. I'm on the fence right now about if I'm keeping the Hog 2 and upgrading to the Pog 3. Let me know in the comment section what you think about, that type of thing. I love the Hog 2 but I gotta, I want to try this new one. I want to see what this new one talking about, Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button. Don't be skimping out not hitting that like button for me. I appreciate it a lot. But I'm definitely thinking about getting that Pog 3 and swapping that out for the Hog 2. So if I get rid of my Hog 2, I'll let you guys know, and I'll keep all my presets in the Hog 2 controller here, which stores all the presets. So you'll pretty much have all those Hog 2 sounds that you've been hearing for years. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. I'm not really downsizing. I got all these pedals just lying around. Like, what if, what I'm saying? Like, doing nothing. I don't want these to be, people could be using these. You know what I'm saying? People could be making music with these. I don't want to just be hoarding pedals just to hoard them, So, definitely make sure you be on the lookout for that stuff. I'll probably start listing them sometime today, probably when I get off of here. But all these are good quality pedals, very low damage, if any at all. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm very protective of my babies. And, I'm hoping I don't change my mind about this stuff. It always happens. You try to get rid of something and you change your mind. And this good old X-Tone Pro. And like I said, this is really nice for when you want to use a portable, like say you want to use your laptop and record and have like a MIDI audio interface that's really solid. First of all, this is steel, and it's got the expression pedals. If you want to trigger tracks or do any of that stuff, you can do all of that with this. It's got headphone in and out. Well, no, headphone out, excuse me. It's got its own, this XLR has its own gain control, phantom power, and you got a master volume on here. All of that in one pedal. You know what I'm saying? That you can just hook up to your iPad, your iPhone, your laptop. Even if you're using like a Samsung or something like that, it'll hook up to any audio interface, anything that'll accept the audio interface. So, that's great pedal. Definitely has served me well. Definitely have used that on a lot of rehearsals and stuff. But yeah, so with the bass stuff, it kind of, I'm kind of getting rid of some things, mostly because too, like I said, I wanna do some new reviews for you guys, and I buy this stuff out my pocket, so ain't no point in me keep buying pedals and then having pedals I'm not using around. I might as well turn these into more reviews for you guys. So get rid of these, get something new, and you guys get new content, new, pedal reviews on things. Like I'm working on trying to get a hold of a Meris Mercury X at the moment. We're gonna see how I work that out, and I find the Meris pedals are really amazing. So I'm expecting no less from the Mercury X. This stuff is just top notch. The sound quality, the tracking. I really have no complaints about my Enzo X over here. As you guys can see, I love that pedal. I talk about it all the time. And no, I'm not endorsed by Meris or any other company. I just like the products that work, that sound good. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I'm going to do for today, guys. I definitely appreciate you guys hanging out with me on all the different platforms. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already and keep up with this stuff. And if you wanted to be supportive of the channel, go over to the Patreon, sign up there for $1, $5 a month. It don't have to be a lot to support and help. Trust and believe. And if you want any of these preset packs for the MS-60B Plus, the Enzo X, the Future Impact V4 VIP, the C4 synth, 11 different tone, 11 different preamp packs for the ToneX preset pack for the MS-70 CDR Plus, and the Zoom B6 as well. So check all that stuff out when you get a chance. I definitely greatly appreciate it. And if you want to contact me about any of these pedals that you've seen, just go over to my social media page and hit me up on there at the Bass Negus, Negus, and we'll work something out from there. But all right, guys, thank you so much for your support. I definitely appreciate you hanging with me. It means the world to me. This has been another episode of All Bass Creations, Ambient Mornings. I want you guys to have a great day on purpose. Peace. What's going on? I definitely appreciate you. Of course, you caught us at the end, but thank you for making it in anyway.